Hello folks, it's me, William from William Hayward Painter, and today I'm doing something very different than I normally do. Today is a commentary. It's for Jordan Peele's second film, Us, from 2019. I'm doing this commentary in anticipation of Jordan Peele's third film, Nope, which, if you're in America, has already come out at this point. I stay in the UK, so Nope is still yet to come out. It comes out in mid-August. It's early August just now, so there's still about a week until it's on, but I'm not going to talk about that movie today because it'll immediately date this commentary. In anticipation for it, I'm going to talk about Us. This is a movie that I've seen many times, not just in the cinema but in the comfort of my own home. But yeah, I think the best thing to do is just get the movie on and I'll comment on it while it's happening. I was hoping, because I'm watching this on a Blu-ray, I have a DVD copy which kind of made me fall out of love with DVDs, unfortunately, because there are moments in the film where there's a lot of clarity, but the standard definition of it was not the greatest, so, you know, basically this is a better format. I was watching it the other night in preparation for this commentary, so yeah, this is a better source to comment on. I love the detail, of the clarity of it. I was noticing things I hadn't seen before, actually. So yeah, always discovering something new with this movie, like any Jordan Peele film. But anyway, that sets the stage. I'll say though that my main thing for doing this commentary, my main reason for it, is because with Get Out, with Jordan Peele's first movie, I was really happy that there was a commentary because he unpacks so many things. It's really deep, so I probably won't do a commentary on that film. But for the home media release of this movie, there is no commentary. There's behind the scenes stuff that I've seen which I'll bring in, I'll talk about when necessary when doing this commentary. But yeah, to my dismay, there wasn't one, so I've always thought, well, maybe someday I'll do my own, so today is the day I'm going to do that commentary. Anyway, that's my intro for this commentary. I'll say, folks, if you just want to listen to the commentary I'm doing, go ahead, that's cool, but if you also want to sync this commentary with your own copy of Us, just reach out with the remote control and press play now. Okay. Yeah, the Universal Pictures logo. This is, it's quite innocent looking, this logo, but it's the sound. I'll say I've muted the sound so you're not going to be able to hear it for copyright reasons. But yeah, there's kind of a rushing wind sound which brings to mind the beach, which is the main setting of this film in Santa Cruz, California. Yeah, I remember this, seeing this in the cinema for the first time. And that really sets the stage. But also this is interesting, this second logo. It's got kind of a claymation style, which is definitely deliberate when you see the monkey paw logo, which is Jordan Peele's company. Yeah, this is creepy. Kind of silly as well, as it's got its pinky sticking out as it stirs that cup. And the cup and the sound effect is from Us, from Get Out, and also the blue, the text, all that is a little homage to Get Out. Anyway, if you're watching Us along with me, you'll be able to see the text that's on screen just now, and you can read it, but I'm just going to read it anyway. There are thousands of miles of tunnels beneath the continental United States, abandoned subway systems, unused service routes, and deserted mine shafts. Many have no known purpose at all. Ooh. And that last sentence there stays with you, so yeah, that idea of purpose or purposelessness, that'll be a good segue into this here. Now, there's a lot going on in this shot, but I'll just say quickly, there's a few Easter eggs here, the VHS tapes. We've got Chud, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, also the Goonies. The Goonies, the line, "It's our time now," is very significant, which is in that movie, and that comes into play at the end of this film, but I'll come to that. Anyway, a lot going on here. So, Hands Across America, 1986, which sets the year. Looking at this imagery here of people holding hands. All this stuff, this news report, talks about the storm in Santa Cruz, which is where we are, and yeah, it just eases you into the movie. Well, no, it doesn't ease you in, it really throws you in quite quickly. But yeah, this is like the linchpin of the whole movie. And here we meet our main character. We see her reflection in the TV screen. This is Addie. I believe Thomas is her surname here. When she's married later on, we'll see she's Addie Wilson, but for now she's Addie Thomas. It's 1986, we're at the carnival, or at the amusement park with her parents. We can see them here. So, yeah. I don't just want to talk about everything I can see, because obviously with this film, if you've seen it before, if you've seen Jordan Peele's work before, You know that there's the surface level storyline of what's going on, what you can see, what the characters do, and what the threat is, what the twist is, all that kind of stuff. I'll say though that you have all that, but yeah, thriller. Here we are, the T-shirt there, just to set the scene. Also the red. Red is very significant in this movie. Also there, she's got her candy apple. But anyway, there's the surface level storyline, and then there's the deeper social commentary underneath all that. And so that's what we're going to do. I've just realized I haven't put the subtitles on, so I'm just going to do that now, because the subtitles do help. But anyway, this movie, I remember seeing the trailer for it and being really, really excited. And I'm just going to say right now that when I first saw this film theatrically, I didn't like the ending. I'm sure I'm not alone, but that's not to say I don't like this film. I really do like this film. It's more just that, yeah, I thought that it kind of undid the entire story, and if you've seen it, you'll know what it is, but I mean, even if you haven't, I can tell you later. But yeah, the more I watch this movie, the more I can see what's going on, or the more I can tell what Jordan Peele's trying to say with this film. So basically, I appreciate it more and more on repeat viewing. This guy here with the beard looks kind of like Kurt Russell from The Thing. I've noticed, I was saying there's more detail on this Blu-ray, I've noticed his t-shirt says Black Flag, which means probably nothing, but it's kind of a symbol of rebellion, I suppose, of like punk rock, kind of 80s, sets the period. Yeah, baby, stay close, okay, says Mum. Listen to your mother, child. Listen to your mother. That's the thing about Jordan Peele's movies, is one of the big things about his films is they are about the black experience, even though this film is, it's more about social class than race. Race is important, but it's not the most important thing. This dude here, I believe his name is Ferdy. He's holding a sign that says, he's gone now, but he was holding a sign that says Jeremiah 11:11. That, not just the verse in the Bible, which I'll read out later. If you Googled it, you'll know what it is. But, yeah, the numbers are important in this movie, but also animals, a lot of animal symbolism, like the rabbit, which we'll see shortly. But yeah, 11 or 1 and 2 and other numbers like that. Just looking at the carousel there. This is very California, very Lost Boys. And this shot's very Jaws with the fire on the beach, or just the beach in general. But yeah, obviously this is a movie about self and about identity and, you know, trust and who we are and stuff like that, of even like how well do we know ourselves or how well do we know other people is another question which will get answered at the very end of the film. Seeing the lightning, got the thunder rumbling, this is kind of creepy. It's not too creepy, but, you know, it's just the right amount because there's a lot of humor in this movie, also a lot of tension and dread and horror, because that's the type of movie it is. I'll say that I felt that Get Out was very well balanced in terms of humor, and tension, but you know, I love the comedy and I love the horror in that movie. I don't know how well they always work together, which isn't even a criticism, it's just, you know, I think it's like stylistically intentional for the piece. Now, so the apple being dropped there I think is kind of a biblical image of the Garden of Eden, of the knowledge of good and evil, kind of a loss of innocence kind of a thing. Although saying biblical, there's we're shifting gears and we're going more for a Native American kind of creation story here, which is read by Jordan Peele in The House of Mirrors that Addie is now in. And yeah, this owl symbol here, it's like a symbol of wisdom, I read that as. I remember that kind of startled me when it came out. But yeah, voice cameo for Jordan Peele here. Yeah, lots of comedy and lots of horror in this movie. Like, this is a scary sequence here when the lights go out. This is creepy. Ooh. But yeah, well balanced in Get Out. I feel though in Us, like, I like the humor, I like the horror. I didn't know how well it worked together sometimes. I thought it was unintentionally funny a couple of times. And it's still entertaining. I enjoy it, but this movie, it's challenging because not just the way it ends, but because of the impact that Peele is trying to have. Got the word exit, got reflections. Reflections are important in Get Out, but they're also important in this movie too. Itsy Bitsy Spider. She's whistling here, which I think is to give her a sense of place, of where she is, where she's going, and also, like, maybe the sound will help her get out of this place. Yeah, this is scary. This is scary because she's whistling and she can hear somebody else whistling. Notice that Addie whistles Itsy Bitsy Spider perfectly. She knows what she's doing, but the whistling, it's an imitation of that, but it's a bad imitation. And yeah, that's kind of like the sign of your evil side. Speaking of which, here's her doppelganger. This is Red, or who is called Red later on. Yeah, this is bizarre. It really defies logic because we think it's a reflection, but it's not. That reaction there is really freaky. That wide-eyed look. Here's the White Rabbit. I was rewatching this the other night and I thought, yeah, there's something kind of Aryan about this because it's a white rabbit, but looks kind of blonde. Maybe it's just the color because of its cage, but also it's blue-eyed, so yeah, probably not intentional, but color and race and like animal qualities and stuff like that are important in Jordan Peele's movies. So yeah, here we are, a film by Jordan Peele. I'll say this is a good point to talk about the twist at the end, which the twist is, so Addie met herself, a dark evil version of herself, in a hall of mirrors. That's nice, the red against the white. It's very important. But yeah, she met an evil version of herself in the Hall of Mirrors, and we hear later on that adult Addie apparently ran away from this threat, but it turns out that the twist at the end is that evil Addie replaced good Addie and has been parading around as her for her whole life, pretending to be her. And I felt that when that's finally revealed at the end, which I didn't see coming, it didn't even occur to me that that could be the twist, which, yeah, you know, I played on my gullibility, but yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna do this commentary knowing how the movie ends, and assuming that you know as well, you folks listening. And even if you didn't know, I've spoiled it. Anyway, Madison Curry is the child actress that plays young Addie in both versions. Very talented actress in this. But yeah, so we see all these white rabbits. This is very Nightmare on Elm Street with the classroom, and it's revealed that this is an underground facility, which we explore more at the end of the movie, because this whole movie is, there's a lot to it, and the premise is kind of insane. I mean that in a nice way, even though, you know, you wouldn't know it. But yeah, there's a big underground facility that has a clone of everybody in the United States anyway, which plays off the opening text of there's lots of underground places like mine shafts and service routes. I say routes as I'm from the United Kingdom, as opposed to routes. Anyway, but yeah, and so yeah, everybody has an evil clone ostensibly, and they were created so as to puppeteer people on the surface, try and control people. So it's kind of a, you know, kind of a commentary on like choices and life and stuff like that. This whole sequence, it's very Kubrick. Like, Kubrick has, speaking of which, this is very similar to the opening of The Shining, even though the text that we see in a minute that reads present day is in white rather than blue. So it feels like Kubrick but modernized, and, you know, there's a lot of that in this film. Here's another motif, the hands across America, or just the family joining hands. I love how long it holds in this shot. Anyway, so we're introduced to adult Addie, even though this is not adult Addie. This is her evil clone, and she's asleep, and we get to know her. So yeah, immediately there's a bit of a disconnect because we see her and she's sleeping. So it's different than when she was a child. This is her husband Gabe. Him being all-American dad, waking up his children loudly. So Zora and Alex. I mean Jason, excuse me. Jason is the, Alex is the child actor name. But yeah, Jason, there's a name, named after Jason Voorhees, not by his mother. That would be unfortunate. But no, I feel it's a comment on that. And this movie, like Friday the 13th, does kind of have a bit of a mother-son story going on, which isn't as apparent at first. It's only as we go through it. because it is a movie about family. We see the family there. There's Grandma, Zora, and Addie. Also, child Addie and her mother. Nice painting. I do like that. Anyway, there's lots of stuff in this scene that sets up character traits very quickly. It's like rapid-fire dialogue. It's very Spielberg, getting that exposition or, you know, establishing things very quickly. I'm going to say quickly, I can't comment on everything here, but I like the art on the walls here, different styles. You know, I think the fact that they have all this stuff, you know, it kind of shows social status. Now, with the food here, it's significant because Addie's eating strawberries, which are red. There's another red thing here. And everybody else is eating takeaway food. I don't recognize that brand or whatever that is, if that's just like a local thing. But it sets Mum apart from the rest of the family. Like, she's the odd one out. She's eating more healthily than them, which is kind of funny. But it's more just to say that she's, you know, not like everybody else because she's evil. Yeah. But anyway, so going under the assumption that this is the real Addie, we kind of think that the rest of the family want to go to the beach while they're on holiday here, and, you know, she's nervous about that idea. And we think it's because she wants to keep away from the childhood trauma of getting lost and also, you know, being really scared by, you know, things that she didn't understand when she was a kid. But it turns out, no, she's an imposter and she's trying to cover her tracks. She's trying to stay away from it so there's no risk of her getting exposed. And to be honest, she is never exposed. I think her son, Jason, who's clued in by the end, here's a nice shot here. These different animals lined up. Something kind of Noah's Ark about that. Lots of biblical stuff in this movie. I'm noticing the sun on the right there. The sun is very important, not just the California sun, which is important to where we're at, our location. But yeah, we'll come back to that. But yeah, all those animals lined up. We'll see that later on, but with human beings. I like the pink and blue here that child Addie's wearing. It's very cute. She's very cute. It's very nice. But yeah, so even though, because Russell, Addie's dad, rightly says that, you know, Addie hasn't been to Vietnam, so why should she be traumatized? Why should she have PTSD, as the therapist says? The therapist is also another African-American person, which I think is just to, you know, again, it's for Jordan Peele to see people in his movies, or just movies that look like him, but also in a horror movie situation make the right decision, which most of the characters do. Other than Addie walking away, you know, by herself alone, but, you know, it was the 80s, and I think there is kind of a stranger danger element to this stuff. It's not gone into too much, but I think, you know, when her parents lost her and then she reappeared, they were worried that something could have happened, because, you know, there's lots of weird people out there. You go missing at night at a theme park, who knows? Here's another duo thing. We've got the fake spider, the big spider, and the real spider crawling on the table. It's another duality image. I do like this holiday home that they have. Yeah, they are well-to-do. They got money. Addie's hair, in fact, hair is very significant in general in this movie. She has sister locks, which is a, you know, cool black woman's hairstyle, which Jordan Peele basically calls it that himself, so I feel alright saying that. But yeah, I think doing that, it makes her distinct, because nobody else has this haircut in this movie. But even then, like, movies in general, this isn't seen too often, so it's like a, you know, representation of real black women's hairstyles. So yeah, piece of history according to Mr. Peele. Yeah, this is funny. Just them, you know, husband and wife. This is a little bit different than Get Out, which I'm going to try not to reference too much, even though there's one joke later on in the movie. I say it's a joke, it's played more for tension. Jason says get out when he's getting out of the car at the end to fight the evil version of himself. But I'm going to try not to talk about his first movie too much and just talk about this, because they are similar, but they are not the same, so yeah. A lot of this movie, Addie seems to have lost her son and she's looking for him, like just now. We see in the background there we've got references to dancing. or well, the ballet or jazz, like, you know, choreography in general, and that's important for what we're going to see here. So we're in the laundry room, innocuous location here. You're pretty, Zora, don't worry about the way you look. You're right. Here's Jason. He's wearing a Wolfman mask. There's a few references to the Universal monsters in this, the Wolfman, but also vampires in a vague way when we come to the evil versions of people. There's Bunny Rabbit there, nice little... It's not scary, it's just for a laugh here. Lots happening in this movie quickly, so I'm going to try and cover it all quick. Basically, that ambulance there, that comes back into play at the end of the film. Here we go, that's young Addie doing ballet. She seems happy with that, she's curious, and she sees a vision of herself doing the same thing. This, turns out, isn't Madison Curry, this is another child actress, or it's meant to be Addie as a teenager. I don't know how old she's supposed to be here. Or maybe this is her, they look the same. I think we see her, it's a different actress when she's doing the Pas de Deux ballet later. There's Jason locked in the cupboard. And Zora's mean sister. Yeah, I think the actress, we have 3 different actresses playing Addie in this movie. There's Madison Curry at the beginning as a child, and then teenage Addie when she's doing ballet, and then, you know, Lupita Nyong'o, who plays her for the most part. Nice boat going in a circle here on the lake. This is very Crystal Lake. There's the bunny rabbit motif again on Zora's shirt. She has another shirt later on in the movie, but yeah, that motif is in this, which is there as kind of an Alice in Wonderland story, which is again also kind of a coming of age story, or even then like a loss of innocence, growing up story. And the white rabbit is like a motif, kind of a metaphor for that. I don't actually know what the significance there. The boat is called Crawdaddy, which is kind of funny. Somebody tell me what that means, or what Gabe thinks it means or wants it to mean in this movie. It's maybe just him being dad. He got this boat cheap, which plays on his gullibility. Or, you know, just him doing his thing. He's a good man, he means well, but yeah, we all make mistakes. Yeah, that boat, the engine not working, that'll come into play later. There's a line here Zora has about, did you know there's fluoride in the water that the government uses to control our minds? I'm just reading the subtitles there. It kind of falls flat as a joke, at least the first time you watch it, but the second time you watch it, yeah, it makes sense if you know the government mind control, like, backstory behind cloning people and trying to manipulate them. Kind of a totalitarian thing. Yeah, lots of curses in this movie, even though, yeah, the dirty word that Jason just used isn't that bad. You can say the scientific word for anything. Yeah, Addie found that funny. Yeah, there's subtle hints that she's human, but she's not good. She has a soul, but she's evil, you know. And there's just subtle hints that she's not the same as the rest of the family or, like, people around her. Here's the song. I got 5 on it. One of the highlights from the trailer. I remember watching the trailer, and this is the opening bit. This whole scene is the opening bit of it. And Jason asks what I got 5 on it means, and it's obviously about drugs, even though Gabe, you know, doesn't say it is. And don't do drugs, kids, you know. This bit here, people say, when Addie says get in rhythm, she herself is out of sync with the beat. To be honest, no, I don't actually see that. It's not perfect, but it's fine, you know. I mean, it's a hip-hop beat, it's very busy, so you could get in, you know, find your own sense of rhythm. There is kind of a quality of the evil clones of people who are called the Tethered in this movie. I know a lot of you know this, because a lot of you will have probably seen this movie already. By the way, this commentary, to quote Jordan Peele, it shouldn't be the first time you're experiencing it, this movie. But yeah, there is kind of a quality of, like, motoring issues, or like dyspraxia, maybe even like autism and other kind of neurodivergences or whatever. Here's a flashback to Addie. She's terrified, she's scared, but obviously later she's acting. She's pretending to be scared so as to blend back in and, kind of steal an identity, assume her good counterpart's life. Yeah, this character we saw at the beginning of the movie who's been stabbed, this man apparently is named Ferdy. I think it is, no, yeah, Jeremiah 11:11 guy. Yeah, it's a different actor, but it's the same character. This year, it's interesting watching this because I think in the trailer this shot was framed differently with their shadows on the beach, the California sun casting them. This shot kind of sums up the entire movie, the whole concept of the doppelganger is, by the way, there's the same Hall of Mirrors, even though they changed it 30 years later for politically correct reasons, and all the more for it. But because it was a Native American chieftain the first time, and then now it's a Merlin guy. There's a race thing. There's a little bit of, like the African American experience, even though there's also like, white American experience here as well, and a little bit of Native American as well, as the actor holding the Jeremiah 11:11 sign. I think him, or certainly his clone, I think he's Native American, or supposed to be, just not just because he's wearing red, because they all wear red, but I think, it's supposed to be, it's a comment on representation or a lack thereof. So even though, because the Wilson family, which is Addie's family, and then the Tim Heidecker's family, who plays Josh here, and his wife Kitty, played by Elizabeth Moss, even though they're the same, like, social status, because that's the big thing in this movie, I think there's some competition here. And this line where Addie says she has problems talking is like a comment on the tethered, having problems communicating, and because they don't speak English, or Red, her doppelganger, can speak English even though she's traumatized and she has her throat's all husky, her voice is all husky. And there is a name for that condition. I'll add that in later into the commentary when I look it up. Spasmodic dysphonia, also known as laryngeal dystonia. But it does explain later why Addie does have some issues communicating her feelings or just talking in general, and why Red can speak pretty well considering, but all the other tethered are not able to speak. Something I'll say with Tim Heidecker's family is, I think the only comparison to be made with Get Out is that the white people in these movies suck. I mean, just there, Kitty called Addie a whore, which is meant to be funny, but it's not funny. There's the twins doing acrobatics or, handstands, whatever. And they're making fun of Jason. Yeah, the white family in this movie, especially the twin girls, they all suck. I really don't like them, but you're not supposed to like them. And it's just kind of a play off on, like, privilege, on, being spoiled, having so many things, being wealthy and, able to go on these nice holidays and, stay in holiday homes and stuff like that. That's the big thing here in this movie. Them talking in unison here, jinx, double jinx, triple jinx, blackout, there's like a, progression just there, like being in sync. But yeah, in Get Out, the white family were really contemptible, and this family's also contemptible, which is a Jordan Peele thing. Yeah, here's Jason wandering off like his mother before him. I'm sorry, I forgot to read Jeremiah 11:11. It reads, "Therefore, this is what the Lord says, I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them." But yeah, so Kitty, she had plastic surgery, which, kind of is a sign of vanity. That shot's very Jaws, with the boys carrying the girl into the ocean. Yeah, Addie's really getting set off here. That shot's very Indiana Jones, like Last Crusade, with all the gulls, all the seagulls on the beach. This image here, there's a lot of Christian stuff in this movie, but that star, it's more of like a pagan kind of image. I was going to say initially the Star of David, which itself is derived from paganism. That's a 5-point star rather than a 6-point star, but it breaks from the rest of the Christian iconography in this. Something I said that I noticed in this movie that I didn't notice before. Here we go. Here's the clone of the man, the Jeremiah 11:11 dude. But yeah, that fox there on the left of frame, I hadn't actually noticed that before, and if I did, I didn't see the significance of it because yeah, it's kind of a symbol for like being sneaky, like also being a hunter, like a fox in the trees looking for its prey. This shot I've never found particularly scary, but the blood dripping off the guy's finger. I think the fact that the blood's there is creepy, but the dribbling of it is weird. Maybe because it blows in the wind a little bit. But yeah, can't control nature. Yeah, where's Jason? This is the big thing that Addie has throughout the movie. And it does help you sympathize with her because she seems to be really caring. Gabe obviously wasn't paying attention. Okay, here he is. He's back. Mum was worried about you, boy. Young man. Yeah. This is the thing, tell your children this. Don't go away anywhere without saying where you're going. It's that thing of having your characters make the right choice and trying to keep things together, even when things go down the tubes later. But yeah, can't be perfect or you have no movie. But yeah, it does help you sympathize with her, as this scene does too, because it seems that she's caring, she's a mother, she's looking after her family, not just her children, but you know, she's the leader of the pack, if you like. And I think you're supposed to think that it's Gabe, to begin with. There's another hand-holding image there in the bedroom that Jason has. Yeah. But yeah, basically Addie is the alpha of the team here, the leader. You're meant to think it's the dude, you're meant to think it's Gabe, and it feels that way, but yeah, about halfway through you realize no, it's not. And if you didn't know by that point, you know, it's fairly obvious. I wonder if there's something to be said here for Zora being on her phone, like she's disobeying her mum, she's just doing the teenage thing. There's the phone on in the dark. Yeah, kids have access to information a lot quicker now. It's just kind of to separate the time period from when Addie was growing up in the 80s and, when the kids are growing up now, just stuff they have and stuff they know about. Like, casually, Jason here mentions terrorists and perverts, which is kind of funny. It's kind of a blunt thing to say because this is the way kids look at the world or look at danger, and it's just like, oh yeah, this thing, that thing, and you realize it's really serious. But yeah, just stick with your mum, boy. Stick with her, and she'll look after you. That's the thing. That's the conflicting thing in this film, because even though Addie is evil, 11:11. There you go. 11 minutes past 11 at night. But also 1111 is a symbol that we'll see again in a few minutes with the family donning the red jumpsuits in their driveway holding hands. Yeah, lots of different things. It's very complicated. Lots to dive in for in this movie. Yeah, the sun there in the drawing that Addie's holding is significant because that's something that the tethered have obviously been deprived of, being underground dwellers. There's the blood coming off the hand again. Tiny detail that he picked up on. Yeah, Jason must be kind of a tough kid because he noticed this thing, which is pretty weird and gruesome, but he's indifferent to it. So yeah. I suppose because like children nowadays, you can see, like you could say, oh, people were tougher and rougher, years ago than they are now. I don't know. It's a combination, like I think he thinks he's tough, like the kids think that they know the score, but when they're challenged by seeing evil versions of themselves and others later on, no, they're just as scared as anyone would be. The whole family gets scared, but that's something to clock on to, is how the kids deal with this. Here's Gabe trying to seduce his wife. This is really uncomfortable. Because, man, you think this is... Don't think don't think that she's into this, because she's not. I'm fairly certain. Hmm. This kind of visually, the first shot here with Abby, with Addie, um, we see her from behind, which is the way we see the evil clone later, and I mean where we see the evil clone at the beginning, also later on, as a matter of fact, but we'll talk about that later. But no, it's just to give the idea that this is actually not the good version of her. Mm. But that's taken away in a minute because we see her looking at her reflection as she did, looking at her evil self years ago. So yeah, a little bit of backstory that Addie's obviously tucked this down way deep down inside. That's the shot I'm talking about, with her looking at her reflection. Yeah, here we go. Something that this movie does, it's kind of Christopher Nolan-y in a way. It's not it's Nolan can be a bit pretentious nowadays, and Peele's veering that way, but I still love his movies. But yeah, the protagonist, I'm sorry, well, yeah, the protagonist is denied the same information as the audience. So the audience knows what the character knows, or what the character remembers, in the sense of Nolan's first movie, Inception, is like that. Not Inception, sorry, Memento is like that with Guy Pearce. But yeah, here we go. This image, I think, was the basis for Peele wanting to do the movie. Like, what if you saw yourself, and it's an evil version of you, and you're sneering at yourself evilly, and that whole image, comes up a few times here. But yeah, so we're fed the information that Addie saw an evil clone of herself and just rejected it and ran away. The correct thing to do, but obviously that hadn't happened. And what happened there rather, even though we don't see it here, is Addie was the real Addie was choked and knocked out, and brought underground, was trapped there, and it explains later on why when we think the evil version of her, which turns out to be the good version of her, returns, she can speak, but she's talking as if she's been choked and her voice has been damaged. So there's like a physical sense of damage, but also like psychological damage as well, which is what that condition is all about. And that's the problem, because I think I would have enjoyed a in every case, I think I would have enjoyed this movie more if the twist wasn't that this is actually the criminal. This is the antagonist of the story that we've been following and sympathizing with the whole time. Because I think I like to be challenged, but at the same time, I thought that kind of undid this movie. And this yell here always made me laugh because it's not scary, it's funny, but that's deliberate. This shot coming up, though, that's very Halloween, with Jason in the corner, the same as Michael Myers in Halloween. There's a family in our driveway. Hoo hoo, that's chilling. It sounds chilling here. There's not a family in our driveway. Hard cut to this. This should be scary, but it's funny. I can remember watching this the first time theatrically and the audience chuckling a little bit. But yeah, the chuckling stops, pretty quickly, because like, yeah, Boogeyman's family, reference to Halloween. The Boogeyman's coming. The Boogeyman. This is again another example of the right thing being done. Call the cops, call the police, just deal with the problem immediately. But if you pull all these tricks that we've seen in the horror genre before, then it leaves, it creates more voids, more things to happen in the story, which, elevates it, or maybe elevates the wrong word. It challenges it in a way and makes it more interesting. So yeah, this is where Peele's movies kind of ride the line between like serious horror and like dark satire, or just, straight up satire, but not like a Scream, like making fun of all the cliches. There are some cliches as it pertains to race in the horror genre, like white people being the protagonists normally, or just represented fully, and then other races, not just African Americans, being sidelined. So I think the fact alone that our main characters are all black, it's an all black, all American family, which is being darkly satirized here with the tethered family. The fact alone that that's in this and that's what this is all about is like satire enough, or like challenging enough. So it's about race, but they don't really talk about it too much. Zora, put your shoes on. There's another thing there, though. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I think that's to do with the rabbit again. Yeah, Gabe is asking them firmly but fairly to leave because they're trespassing and it's creepy. Yeah. They're all like Michael Myers at this point, in that they're all like still silhouetted, they're just standing there. We can tell them all apart, but at this point there's no character to them, but their character will get developed, or get established in a moment. So yeah, having tried to get rid of the threat, his way, and it didn't work, Addie's trying to get rid of it her way, which is the better way in this instance. Yeah, Addie's is definitely the better way. You don't want to antagonize your invaders. What I was saying about this movie, it starts off one way and it kind of goes the other way, if you like, because at this point it's a home invasion movie, which the trailers lead you to believe is the whole thing. But obviously you need more of that to have more of a story, and that's where the all the backstory and all the the motivation for the perceived bad guys comes in. That's freaky, that moment there. Give me the chills when I saw that the first time, with Red clicking her tongue and everybody does their thing. It's like a choreographed dance kind of thing. But yeah, we're 40 minutes into the movie and already we're in the main meat of the story, and you think, yeah, where are we going from here? But yeah, there's a lot to do. Right, so yeah, everyone's breaking off just to, try and defend their home from invasion. It's interesting that, I think that Zora, or the evil version of Zora, who is called Umbre, we'll learn in a minute, who knows how to climb a tree. There's Pluto, that's Jason's doppelganger. It's, yeah, that moment there kind of mirrors the interaction that Addie had with her evil self. There's Itsy Bitsy Spider getting whistled again. So this is the real Addie that's whistling, and we know this because she's whistling it correctly. And it's scary. You don't pick up on it the first time, but when you know what the twist is, then you pick up on these things. In the same way with Get Out, when you know what the twist is there, you rewatch it, knowing how it ends, you pick up on where it was all going to lead. So that's the hide a key thing, inside the stone rather than under the stone, which is some next level thinking. But Gabe makes fun of it as being like a very white thing to do, a very, like, dumb, not thinking about what the consequences might be. But, to say nothing, because I imagine it was probably done by somebody else. Yeah, ow, that's really painful. I don't know if Addie did that or if it was done by somebody else, but yeah, you have to have, like I say, you have to have things like that in this movie, or else you don't have a plot. It's like, yeah, if only they didn't go in that house, or if only if only the cops came quicker, none of this would have happened. Or indeed, if only you didn't get lost and, didn't get kidnapped. But, it's like I was saying, it's like a loss of innocence kind of a story, and that you don't always, you know, when you're young, you're more vulnerable, you're defenseless, and especially in a horror movie, that's you know, it's an interesting, thing to pick up on. You know, it's more effective if you're trying to make a scary film. Anyway, them all appearing here, Umbre just there. I didn't think she was the scariest of the bunch till I heard Jordan Peele's opinion on her. She is pretty scary, but yeah, I think she is the scariest out of the group, other than Red just here. We're coming to the scariest scene in the whole movie, at least for me. But yeah, when they all appear again, they're like Michael Myers. Like when Gabe opens the door, it's a lot like Halloween, or like Halloween 2, actually, when Michael's walking down the stairs, just really still. Yeah, Red seems fascinated by this painting, by this fireplace, or maybe she's not. Maybe she's just like setting the stage. Yeah, this look she gives is really eerie. It's very like Pennywise from It, from the new movies. That cross-eyed look that Bill Skarsgård gives. Yes. Even though, because this whole thing, here's an effective jump scare coming up. Well, actually, no, it's not here yet. Even though this is the real Addie, you know, she's welcoming them, like, this is actually her home, she's coming home after 30 years. There's an effective jump scare coming up with Pluto, who, even though he's human, he acts very much like a dog, and we'll see after he lights the fire, you know, he behaves like a dog, which is scary. There you go. Yeah. Here comes the scariest scene in the whole movie. Yeah, Umbre, that look that she gives, yeah, it's freaky. That makeup's great. Yeah, what? It's us, yeah. Which, to me, that line, it's us, is up there with They're Here in Poltergeist. Another Spielberg bit. Yeah, because Gabe, he thinks that they're, like, burglars or something. He's just saying, we don't have anything here, just go. But, yeah, they don't care, they aren't listening, either because they don't understand or they don't want to understand, they just want to make their statement. This whole bit, this shot, or this two-shot here with Pluto and Red, I think is the scariest thing in the whole film. Just how long it holds on it, and him, the boy, just looking, barely blinking. It's unsettling. Tethered together. This whole thing, it's like a folk tale, or like story around the campfire kind of thing, but it's subverted in a way because it's not outside and the fire is inside, and you know, we're in a living room. Yeah, this whole bit is a comment on like social class and like the haves and the have-nots, which I don't really like to use that phrase, but you know what I'm trying to say, you know. Yeah, so basically described in like fairy tale terms, like prince, princess falling in love, and she had a shadow, and the shadow, you know, Abraham. There's another biblical reference there from the Old Testament. I want to say that even though Jordan Peele likens this story as being like Easter, or like a darker version of Easter, I'll say that Red here, Red is not Christ, Red is not Jesus. Oh, that's scary. Oh no. Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o, her performance is really good. Everyone gives a great performance in this. Lots of crying. There's a lot of crying in Peele's movies. All these reaction shots are very effective. But yeah, this isn't like a retelling of like any sort of Christian story. I think it's more like a dark satire of religious observance, or you know, what it's like to not to be a Christian in America, but what people think Christians are in America, or what has been allowed to happen, as of like self-righteousness and seeing yourself as some kind of savior. She was being tested by God. Yeah, that's a very biblical idea. Yeah, look at that. But yeah, going back to the Alice in Wonderland thing, everybody, all these people are insane. Like the tethered are insane, but only because they were abandoned and misguided. Yeah, these jokes don't really work for me, and Addie rightly tries to shut Gabe up. Like, I could give you a car, my wallet, just take me to the cash point. I'd give you the boat, give you the money. Yeah, it kind of helps diffuse the tension a little bit, but yeah, that screaming there from Abraham really injects the tension back in. Yeah, because they're clones and because they're meant to copy what their counterpart does. Gabe has glasses, he adjusts them, and Abraham does the same gesture even though he doesn't have. We're Americans. There's an interesting line. So the question was, who are you people or what are you people? We're Americans, says Red. Um, yeah, it's just to say that we're people too. We're like you, but you wouldn't know it because you've never seen us before. And, you know, we've been oppressed and we're trying to, get some kind of revenge. So this is a movie where again, I think it's easier to identify with the villain, not knowing that it's actually the villain, because even though Red is the protagonist, at least in her own view, she was imprisoned, she was tortured, she was forgotten, and while everybody else upstairs had it good, she did not, nor did anyone else downstairs actually. Yeah, those scissors she has, they look kind of like bunny ears, which is like another rabbit motif again. Don't hurt my children, so she cares about her family. Even though she's evil, she does care about her family. But she's agreed to, you know, tether herself to this table, handcuff herself there. Where it's like, maybe if I do what she says, then, it won't be so bad if I come quietly. Yo, that's funny. That's good. This is like a chimp where he doesn't really understand. It's like, it's like a cliche in movies of a monkey or something, a primate, putting the glasses on, like, I'm intelligent now. But yeah, funny idea, but yeah, executed scarily. That look is funny. Ooh, yeah. But yeah, Gabe, who's obviously had his foot broken or his leg broken or hurt really badly, is now being dragged across the floor over the glass in a moment, which is, you know, oh, that must be really sore. It's a motion picture, so it's not real, so all that glass is fake, but, in the context of the movie, that's upsetting. As upset as Addie is just here. So yeah, everybody is being paired up, so good good Gabe and Gabe and Abraham have been asked to, do their thing. So Zora runs away and Umbre runs after her. That shot's very Halloween too again. The opening of that movie with all the lights at night. Yeah, this shot's edited in an interesting way because we see, like, it picks up again in a minute, even though, like, we see Umbre smiling into the camera evilly, but then it cuts back to her, and I think she's closer to camera. Interesting editing choices in this film that help build the tension, because I've seen some of the deleted scenes. Okay, now it's Pluto, and yeah, he has a temper, which we don't really get to see much of that. He just seems misguided. All of them do. Yeah, she's closer to camera. That's the shot I was talking about. That smile's scary, but not as scary as what we'll see later. He's like, nah, I don't need these to see. I'm just going to get rid of them. What I do need, though, are my shears. Here are the scissors. Yeah, the jumpsuits, even though they're red, it's very Michael Myers, but also the glove is similar to Freddy Krueger. Those are deliberate style choices. I picked up on that when I saw this movie the first time. I'm going to say there's a lot of 80s nostalgia in this, or like tapping on that idea, because this movie came out in 2019, and the 2010s were all about 80s, like callbacks, so this one was just diving in there at the last minute before that trend died out. Showing one of your magic tricks. Go Playboys, yeah. Just like, kind of, yeah, it's another perversion of innocence. Don't burn our house down, which is a funny line, and she chuckles here at that, but she makes it sinister. Yeah, he's like a pet. It's very strange. And also that mask is meant to be like Jason Voorhees. Even like a wrestler mask. Yeah, this look that she has, it's because obviously this is the real Addie. It's similar to like looking at the television or looking in the mirror and admiring something, even though it's a perversion of that. It's like, doing it but being sinister. This is creepy. The shot looks more interesting in the on the Blu-ray that I have, like the shadows, like the contrast. You can sort of see him in the dark there, but you see him more clearly when he strikes that match. Everything's clearer. He's a very forceful guy. It's sort of like I'm going to say quickly, there's a theory that Jason here is actually evil and Pluto is actually good, but the theory doesn't, I don't really buy into that. It doesn't really hold water, but I think people think that because, well, first of all, I'll just comment on this. Look at that burn, that's scary. I think it was scarier in the trailer because it just happens quickly, but they linger on it there for a minute. There's another shot later that during the day where I think it looked it looks more like makeup the second time. There I think it actually looks better. Like it's a fake effect. Again, it's like a Freddy Krueger like burn makeup. It's not the realism of the burn, it's just the fact that it doesn't look real. Yeah, this is very nightmarish where you're running from something. It's kind of a normal, typical nightmare scenario where you're running away from something, and in this instance it's yourself. I'm going to say that even though these people, they parallel and there's a little bit of an overlap because the theory is, or the point is, there's one soul, but it's shared by the two people. And so I think by untethering, as Red says, the tethered, fully claim the soul and they become human. They take the place of their, counterparts. I say all this stuff because nothing much is happening now. It's a great horror sequence. It's very tense, but it's good that there are these moments to, um, just comment on stuff. Yeah, lots of Halloween shots in this film where things are out of focus, then in focus, which again helps build the tension. This is funny, or it relieves tension. The douchebaggy white guy. Get off my car. So Zora, being as wise as she is and a track runner, runs away, escapes from her evil version of herself. And yeah, Umbre's a real sadist. I always remember that shot from the trailer. It's scary. But yeah, I think she sliced his Achilles heel, so she knows what she's doing. But yeah, I think the fact that I know this is a horror movie, it's supposed to be like challenging and scary and, kind of rattle you and leave you floored by the end, like, what do I make of that? Or what just happened there? But yeah, if like I know Addie's evil, we'll see that at the end when she murders Red, but even though Red's meant to be the protagonist, she's just as bad. She's brutal as well. So no, I think she does have, like, she's insane and she has kind of a twisted logic. She thinks she's doing the right thing. She is a good person, but she's going about it all wrong. This little shot here is kind of a Illuminati reference, however intentional or unintentional, just because of the one eye, and the fact that it looks pyramidy, even though he's just in a garbage bag or whatever it is. Doing the right thing, pretending he's playing dead so that his oppressor doesn't try anything, because he could just throw him overboard. I don't actually know what Abraham's going to do to him. He wants to kill him, but I don't know how exactly. Yeah, the fact that the boat has this engine problem is great because he ends up weaponizing it and killing his oppressor. It's very Jaws with all the blood in the water. Lots of blood in Jordan Peele's films. This is a very interesting moment, and it's more obvious later on. But the way, because they don't speak English, they're just shrieking like animals, which is kind of a comment on social status again, of being like less than human or less important. But yeah, the way they're shrieking to each other, it's something that farmers actually used to do. Like during the wartime, they would whistle from great distances to communicate, kind of a Morse code kind of thing. So I think that's a reference to that. Yeah, he was doing so well. He got rid of he got rid of the evil version of himself, who I'm surprised is able to swim. There are a few things that I guess if you think about it logically, they probably wouldn't know how to swim or how to climb trees or anything like that because they don't have that underground in the facility they are brought up in. But I think this movie, if you think about it, and this is another problem, if you think about it too literally, it doesn't work, but obviously it's a work of fiction, but you need to have enough realism for it to make sense, for it to be bought into. But yeah, some people think that Jason and Pluto here are the other way around, that Pluto's good and Jason's evil, just because Jason has, like, motoring issues as well. This is him turning the tables. He was locked in the cupboard, now he locked the bad version of himself in the cupboard. It's like overcoming your fears. That's a creepy look there from Red. All the visual effects are great in this movie, and it's the best thing that an effect can do is that you don't realize it or you forget that it's not real, you know? Because it's obviously like Lupita, filmed that scene twice, playing both characters, and they just digitally replace the faces. Yeah, again, parallels with the good mother son, interaction of escaping from the cupboard, and then the bad mother son of the same thing happening. There's some motifs in this film that reference like the Wild West, or at least like Middle America, like farming and wearing jeans and straw hats and stuff like that. And some of the tethered, even though the vast, like the majority of them wear these red jumpsuits, but there are some that have like dungarees that are denim, or at least made of different things, and they're different colors and stuff like that. Talking of colors, not for material things, but yeah. Oh, this is bad. Yeah, red. Red finds the old bunny rabbit toy that she had, but we'll see in a minute that she cuts its head off, which is sick. So yeah, all the things so as to say that one person is good and the other person is evil when it's the other way around. Yeah, Gabe knows what his boat is capable of because he got it cheap, and that's why it's a little unreliable. But yeah, but yeah, I think race, as I keep saying, is important in this film, but it's not the biggest thing because it's more about what it means to be American, not necessarily what it means to be black and what it means to be white or any other color, nationality, ethnicity in the USA or whatever. It's just about social status. It's specifically American, but you could apply it to any country. You know, and that sort of plays off the fact that the tethered they're all different ages, all different colors, and they all wear different materials and different colors too. So it's just to reinforce that. That's Addy's weapon of choice, the fire poker, for the rest of the movie. This is very much like Jaws, where his head pops up. And like I was saying, yeah, this very nearly turns into an Italian horror movie with Gabe getting stabbed in the eye. He doesn't, but he could do. He's resisting. Yeah. I wonder if the tethered have like some kind of superhuman strength, you know, beyond their their other counterpart, because they seem evenly matched here. Hmm. She's calling out for her son, but quietly. Doesn't want to draw attention to herself. There's an example of doing the right thing again. Okay, he's in the cupboard again, that's cool. So, yeah, he makes it over there. Good. Okay, there's the bad boy. I forgot to mention that at the opening of this movie, it's kind of the opposite of Get Out, where there are black cars being driven by white people, and this one it's a black family driving a black car, and so it's much like Chris at the end of that movie where he's driving a white car, so it's like the flip side of that. This is freaky. I think that's sped up in both the trailer and this final film. So yeah, it's like taking back power, taking back control, and this one we open with, them in control, and slowly things get out of control. Something I forgot to mention at the beginning of this movie is the score by Michael Abels again, which is wonderful. It's an amazing score. I'm really looking forward to the Nope score, which at this point the movie's been out for a little while. Here's Jason processing everything. There's Red. Yeah, Red's hair is very different. It reminds me weirdly. Both of them remind me of Susie from the Rugrats actually. Just the style. It's kind of cartoony a little bit. But yeah, everyone. I think all the tethered like their hair is not as well kept as their counterparts on the surface because well it wouldn't be because they're almost like people in poverty. Like they have either absolutely nothing or they have like a counterfeit version of what their good self has. It's like the tethered are perceptively evil. Like we think of them as being evil because they're different, even though they look like us. But yeah, I don't even know what I was going to do there. I think a lot of you know what I'm trying to say, but if I'm struggling, it's just because I've never done a commentary before, and I'm just saying it as it's happening. So I'm not going to be able to talk about everything in this commentary as it pertains to this movie. This is a great shot. This shot was done again in Candyman in the Nia DaCosta film, which Peele produced, and you can feel his thumbprints on it slightly. It feels like her movie, but it also feels like a movie that he would make, or at least a film that he would be interested in making. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the score for Nope, because I think Michael Abels is a very, very talented composer. I know Spielberg compared the two of them to him and John Williams, which is the ultimate compliment you could receive as a director and a composer. This is funny. It's O.J. Simpson. It's very kind of a rude thing to say, but you know. It's funny this device here. It's named Ophelia. There was a bit of deleted footage where Josh here explains Ophelia a bit more to Gabe, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. I think it's more interesting if you don't know. You're just introduced to it as it happens. Here are the twins again. Yeah, so obviously the twin girls here each have a twin that's evil, and yeah, I kind of like the evil twins better than the good, at least to begin with, because they don't have an attitude, at least not in the same way. Oh man. Yeah, this shot lasts 7 seconds, apparently. Yeah, they killed them off really fast. The shot coming up of the twins just looking up with their eyes and then looking down at their evil parents is, yeah. It's unintentionally funny. I can remember opening night that I saw this, watching this movie, and the audience laughing, and I kind of laughed as well. Because it's a funny... It's... It sounds like it would be funny, but it's executed that it's creepy, that it's scary. But it's fun. It's an entertaining movie. Except for maybe this. This is a bit too sadistic. Apparently the blood in this, it's not... obviously it's not real, but it's not real liquid sometimes because... you don't get much of a good look at it ever, I don't think, but that blood patch that's under Josh's head, I think that's like a rubber mat, just for continuity, because this film needed to be shot over a long period of time from two different sides. Yeah, I'm gonna help you. This is like I'm gonna help you. No, I'm not. It's like the equivalent of a down low, too slow thing. Anyway, Ophelia, obviously this is like an Alexa, this is an Alexa thing, but the name is different just for like a joke. Also a reference to Shakespeare. Ophelia was obviously insane and drowned in a lake or drowned in a pond or something. So, nothing much to do with what happens in this film, that name, but it's like another hint, another like nugget of insanity, you know. Sorry, it's not funny. It's just his performance. Lots of comedians in Jordan Peele's movies, or people that are great with comedy. You'd think this would kill Josh, or Tex is actually the evil character here. Ew, that's freaky. Here's another, yeah, Tex kind of sounds like a pterodactyl here, which there's a bit of deleted footage where Zora makes a pterodactyl joke. Didn't need to be in the movie. This made me think of the farmer's call and response thing across the field when I first saw the movie, but just the sound of it, more, I mean, less so the what's actually happening in the story. But anyway, we've gone from one home invasion to another home invasion, so I guess it's definitely not more of the same, because the whole point here is that Josh has everything the same as Gabe, as the patriarch of the family, only Josh ostensibly has it better. And I guess that's kind of the comment of the whole movie, is that they're both very well off. They have holiday homes, and they're obviously very well to do. And I think the point with this whole movie is, if you're living a privileged existence, it's probably to the expense of someone else's life, someone else's freedom, happiness, standard of living, all that kind of stuff. And you could call that pretentious, but, because it's like, well, what are you doing about the problem? You're just talking about it. Can something not be done? But hopefully this would incite change. The weapon of choice here, I could see that being around the one that Jason has. It's an ornament he's using. He could easily kill somebody with that thing. The golf club, less effective, but also it's conveniently placed just at the door there. But whatever, doesn't really matter. Because, yeah, everything else in this movie is set up so well, like Zora wanting to drive, she's not allowed to, but she'll be allowed to later. There's the evil twin doing a cartwheel, just like her good counterpart. Yeah, just watching this with no sound, it looks like it would be scarier than it actually is, and it's tense. It's not terribly creepy, but yeah, it's tense enough, because obviously "Fuck the Police" is playing in the background by NWA, and I skipped over that joke, not because I didn't want to talk about it, but because I was too busy talking. Sorry, this isn't funny. It's just so over the top, where the evil twin just falls off the ledge, and we'll see. It turns out she's not dead, but we'll come back to that. Easy E. This is good. This is very good. This is another example of, despite the fact that Zora is a protagonist, she's a lot more intense with her, with this tethered than even the tethers are. It's, you know, yeah, flesh squelches. Ugh, I'm just reading what it says, the subtitles. Yeah, this whole bit is very clearly a reference to Friday the 13th, Part 4, where Tommy Jarvis beats up Jason Voorhees at the end. Similar. Now, I think this is actually nail varnish, not lip gloss, that Dahlia is this character's name, who's Evil Kitty, or Bad Kitty. Bad Kitty. Hmm. But yeah, that would probably taste horrible. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is lip gloss. If it is, then whatever. But she wouldn't. I don't think Dahlia understands what this stuff is. She just wants to look pretty. She just wants what her good self has. Elizabeth Moss is really great in this. Like, she's a great physical actress in this movie. Just her facial expressions. Like, there's a lot here. We've got kind of where she's happy and sad and angry and all these big emotions, but it's all done in a twisted way. I'm sure that was part of the direction. Yeah, here's Gabe in his twilight years, as the philosophers would say, where what has four legs in the morning, two in the afternoon, and one at night? It's man. I mean, sorry, what has three legs at night? It's man. Where when you're born, you crawl on all fours, you grow up and you walk on two legs, and then when you're older, you walk with a walking stick. So it's like, yeah, he's incapacitated now. The funny thing is, Dahlia, I think, wants to kill Addie, but I think she maybe senses that she's not, that she is a tethered as well, or like she can smell it, or they communicated with each other, and she's just backed off, even though the mission is to just kill everyone that's not one of them. So yeah, obviously, I haven't said it until this point, but there's like an us and them mentality where if there's an us, if there's a good side, there's got to be a bad side. There's got to be a them. There's got to be the other, which is something we're either scared of or angry with or not trusting of, or all three. And yeah, that's the big thing in this movie. The challenge here, of course, is the fact that the other, the evil thing, looks like you, and that's scary. This is really funny, even though it's kind of dumb. Great use of the color red, though. Another instance of red. Biatch. That's a good pun. The funny thing is, even though Dahlia's putting on makeup, she's putting on lipstick, or what she thinks is lipstick. Again, she doesn't know what it is. She just wants to feel pretty and feel like she has something superficial. She looks like she's made up already. I know she is, outside of the movie. Yeah, this is her screaming, which turns to, upset, and then she starts chuckling. This is really scary, but also really funny. It's very impressive that she can just do that she distilled it all down quickly like an insane person, which is what she is. Zora sneaking up, wanting to finish her off. No, Mum knows better. Mum knows better than the kids. That's the big thing in this movie. It's less obvious, it's more subtle with the good white family, said to be good. I've said before I hate them, but I'm not supposed to like them. Yeah, bash her over the head, boy. Yeah. But yeah, there is a side of, like Jordan Peele was saying in the behind the scenes, here's the I Got Five on It music coming up again. This is, I believe the term is diegetic. Yeah, diegetic is when the characters can hear the song, so I think it's playing on Ophelia, even though Ophelia's not on. But you see a shot of Ophelia, so I think you're supposed to think that it's working. But yeah, I think that it's either part of the score, like it's just us, the audience, that can hear it, or the characters can hear it too. But yeah. Yeah, there is something to be said for like family and how typically we tend to love the family, we tend to love our own family more than we do the one across the street, and that has, according to Jordan Peele, and that creates this tribalism that all human beings have, which is something that we've all developed to have as a species, and it crosses over. There's a lot of faith stuff in this movie, largely Judeo-Christianity, but like I said, there's some nuggets in there of Native American culture, or perceived to be Native American culture, and like a lack of representation. And then going off that, there's like the whole social status, social class, like side of the rich are really rich and the poor are really poor, and there's no in between where you can stand necessarily. And or that's ultimately how this movie ends. Leaves you with that thought. And you know But we people can do something about this. We can, you know, suppress our ego and we can help each other, hopefully. Because that's the thing about horror. That's what these new types of horror movies do, is they are challenging, hopefully in a way that makes you say, yeah, that's me, and you know, I'm you know, I'm selfish and I could do with helping other people too, you know. It's an oversimplification, but it's a way of dealing with the problems in the world. So anyway, they're watching the television for exposition, which we probably don't need this scene, but it ices the cake. Here's red, white, and blue on the TV screen. Cal 11, another 11, another 1-1. I haven't mentioned the term folie à deux yet, which is French for a madness shared by two, and you know, that is fairly apt in this film. Where even though I don't quite read it the same way as Jordan Peele describes this movie, but the tethered are insane, and human beings, the good human beings, are also insane, or there's like a madness, saying it more softly. That's an effective bit there. That's creepy. Ooh, yeah, that's scary. That's great because you don't notice it at first, and it creeps up on you. You see her face, you see her head in the corner there. But yeah, basically both factions are chaotic. It's just one functions better than the other. And so this whole movie is all about meeting in the middle, and then, you know, both sides meet, and then, you know, one overcomes the other, overthrows the king, if you like. They think like us, they know where they are. That's scary in this movie, effectively so, and in the trailer as well. This is a little bit too meta, where she says, "Tell me you didn't reference Home Alone." It feels too much like a Scream movie. But yeah, they do have the upper hand. Yeah, we're an hour 20 in. Yeah, still so much to do, so much to unpack. But anyway, I'm enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying it as well, folks. I am disappointed that the kids don't know what Home Alone is. Fair enough if you don't know what micro machines are. I'm sure, well, no, I think overseas you guys will know what Hot Wheels are, you know, toy cars and stuff. But it's just like a comment on the youth don't know good movies, you know, the kids today. And but yeah, honestly, Home Alone's not that old, so most people I think should know or do know what it is. Yeah, here's another Halloween shot. We're out of focus. Oh no. Oh yeah, I remember watching this and seeing that the evil twin. There's another Halloween shot where it's out of focus then in focus. We've got the keys. There's the objective. Addie going into her animalistic mode because she's one of the tethered. She communicates like them, which we'll see in a minute. Yeah, this is good. This is very sped up. I'm not saying the movie's sped up. I don't know if it is. I think it's just the actresses and their performance. She looks like she's been stabbed in the back. She's got glass in her back. I think she has, but you know, obviously it hasn't killed her, which is why I think they're like superhuman, or like, you know, there's something different about them, and there's something not quite right, to say the least. Yeah, this is brutal, which goes to show that she's not good, and she's like growling like an animal. This was kind of funny to begin with, but then, yeah, you see Jason's expression here, his face, and so he knows what's up. He knows something's wrong, but he's willing to dismiss it, I believe, for now, because, yeah, he's snapping back out of it, or he's being coaxed into forgetting about it. But yeah, seeing the twin away from the table, like, oh, she's not dead, I can just remember going, oh, when I saw it the first time on the big screen. Highest kill count. Yeah, there's something to be said about like desensitization with the kids today, because, you know, they just describe this as if it's like a video game. Even Gabe does too. Yeah, even though he's not the alpha, ooh, there's Umbre. Even though he's not the alpha, he's still like, you know, in protective mode. He's got his instincts. Yeah, that was one of the, or that's one of the scariest shots in the movie. Buckle up, because Zora's gonna drive, and she's actually very efficient at it too. The tethered kind of move like cockroaches, or Red certainly does, but that one, when Umbre is climbing up there, it was kind of cockroachy, but yeah, definitely like an animal, especially when she's screaming there and stabbing the scissors through the glass. Yeah, either she's very strong or that glass is really weak and pathetic, because she stabbed through that really effectively, and then it takes her a minute to try and cut through this glass here, which she of course doesn't manage to do. Which, it's a question of how strong are they really? Like, do they have powers, or are they just toying with their prey? I know the movie intends to, yeah, she cut through it. There you go. But yeah, the movie just intends to build the tension, and it's good at that. Yeah, she's getting set off now by the windscreen wipers. Yeah, speed up and then brake hard, and then she'll fly away. It's really brutal. She's dead now, right? Yeah, the kids today, I'm 25, so I'm not that old, not that young, but yeah, the kids today, I think there's either lots of whiny crybabies nowadays, or like, or there can be, or they're just like tough as nails, just like these kids are for the most part. I know it's a movie, it's not commenting on that necessarily, despite the wealth of social commentary here. But yeah. Yeah, this is really disturbing, just that laughter and that smile. And she looks like she's bent over backwards, which she is. This is another hint, so as to say that this, Addie sympathizes with them, because she's telling, shushing the child, shushing the teenage girl, even though it's like a evil version of her daughter. And yeah, on the first viewing, you could say, oh, she's a mother, she just sympathizes, because she has lines like, that's yours, like, that's your son, go deal with him, stuff like that. Here's a line, I've drawn it, I'm not going to cross it, kind of a thing. So that's what you're supposed to think the first time, but it's because she is one, and she, despite the fact she wants to protect her life that she'd stolen from the good version of herself, she also, she gets them because she is one. Here's the daytime creeping in. Yeah, the continuity in this film's interesting, because shortly after the tethered arrive, it starts to get lighter. There's a bit of a lack of continuity, because, like, when Zora's running, you can see it getting lighter in the sky in earlier shots, and then later on it's darker. But anyway, so it's the next day. Yeah, this movie takes place over a very short space of time, despite the fact that enough is happening. We've had two home invasion sequences, two big set pieces, lots of backstory. Hmm. Yeah, I've got Jason here playing with his lighter, with his magic trick. He made it work. Fist bump, congratulations. Congratulations, boy. Yeah. That's a good moment there, because it's a nice brother and sister arc for them, in that they, yeah, this shot's very Stanley Kubrick, like tricycle around the corner, and instead of seeing the Grady girls in The Shining, they just see one car, they see one thing that's been destroyed, which is their own car. Yeah, and in a moment we'll see. Um, there we go. See Pluto, the pyromaniac. I forgot to say Pluto. That name, I think, comes from Disney, actually, from the dog Pluto. There's some older Disney cartoons, I think, or some stories about, yeah, him being like a dog, kind of like a hound of hell sort of a thing. And so that's like another biblical reference again, like hellfire, and him being like an animal, like You know, well, when I say biblical reference, it's more of like a myth that's like spun off from that, or like concurrent with that, him snapping his fingers. Good sound design. Good sound design. This is nice. It's kind of like suburbia. Like, those houses don't look as if they should be on the beachfront. Yeah, she's trying to connect with him, reaching out her hand, and he's sort of connecting with her, but then you realize it's a trap. And that smile. That makeup doesn't actually look too bad. Yeah, get out. Yeah, so it's revealed that this was him stalling so as to blow up their car, and he's, snapping his fingers to symbolize him striking the match like before. There's the match. Choir chanting. Here you go. Yeah, that white hoodie she had has really been defaced. It's, covered in blood now, and the shoulders ripped. Here's another T pose, which, like the guy, like the Jeremiah 11:11 guy on the beach. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a Christ pose. I want to say it's not really intended to be a Christ pose in my opinion, because I think the whole thing is like making fun not of Christianity or anything like that, but or like attacking it or misrepresenting it. Not at all. It's more just like making fun of being a vigilante, of martyrdom, of like paralleling your conquest with the conquest of religion, you know. Now, obviously, that's a creepy shot there, which I didn't comment on. I haven't commented on this bit so much, but it's Jason working so as to get rid of the evil version of himself, because obviously, um, everyone in the Wilson family kills their respective other, but yeah, even though they manage to knock off a few others, add a few others to the kill count. Yeah. Now, so yeah, we're back at Santa Cruz. We're back at the beach. This is a good shot here. I've got all the tethered doing the hands across America thing, and something I've not commented on other than the image of the hands across America. It's to do. It was a charity thing in the '80s to try and combat hunger across the USA, and they still obviously have problems like that in America. So it's not as if it solved it, but Addie seeing it when she was a child and knowing about it and being told how important it was, saw that as a way of making a statement. Here we go. Yeah, some of them, like the guy here, looks kind of, yeah, he's got 11:11 scarred on his forehead there. We'll see that again later in a flashback. Here we go. This shot parallels with the opening shot again. Yeah, same as her walking into the place in the same blocking, same move, same everything. It's just it's daytime now and she's an adult. But again, obviously it's not really her. She's more of a sadist, more of a brutalist. You see what I mean? She killed that owl thing. There's another thing, another animal, the deer, which is a big motif in Get Out. Yeah, there's some animal symbolism in this. The bunny rabbit, like I was saying. Here we go, flashback. So she's remembering where she was. And this is the big hint from now on that if you didn't pick up on it before, that she's actually one of them. There's the white rabbit, the real one and the fake one. Yeah. This is a big hint that, you know, that she's evil, that she's one of them, because you say to yourself, wait a minute, how does she know about this, and how does she know how to get here? You know, because she went through the fun house, which it looks like it's been changed from a hall of mirrors into a fun house with like paintings on the walls and stuff like that, because it's like they completely revitalized it. I don't really like this bit too much. There's by the way, there's an M symbol there. which I think is a reference to Monkey Paw Productions. But also, I've forgotten the name of the knot, but it's a Celtic symbol that has been adopted to represent the Trinity in Christianity. So it's another religious symbol. There's an arrow pointing up, which is red. But yeah, this is just to say, you know, that this isn't the real one, that this is the fake one, because she knows exactly where she's going, unless she's being compelled. It's just, you could say, oh, it's mother's instinct or whatever, but no, it's because she's been here before, because she was born here, she grew up here. This is similar to what would end up going in Candyman, in the Candyman remake, the Cabrini Green location, just the color. This is interesting. But yeah, the whole operation that Red had, I think it stemmed from something that she'd seen when she was a child. This is sort of like entering hell at this point because of the lighting, and also going down the escalator. Yeah, there's a bit at the beginning of this movie that is so as to say you can be satisfied where you are on Earth, or you can, you know, go to hell or heaven, basically. Yeah, she is mad. She's like an animal. But yeah, that whole bit's like a privilege thing. I love that. I like the different things here. Got the bunny rabbits. I think these bunny rabbits are made up slightly, you know, with makeup or something like that, because they're all white, even though they've got, some of them have black ears there, or like they look kind of more like guinea pigs because they have like marks on their face. It's possible they just found rabbits that look like that, or they deliberately wanted them to look that way, you know, designing the film more strongly, have more of an influence on the way things look. There's another classroom Halloween Nightmare on Elm Street shot. Doesn't mean anything in the movie, it's just a little nugget. Tell you what does mean something though. This whole bit is very Stanley Kubrick, very much like the Overlook Hotel, or even like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Here's the ambulance, which we saw a toy version of at the beginning. Mom knows what to do. That's the backbone of this whole story. In the present time, anyway. Gabe has a line coming up here that's probably my favourite line in the entire film and effectively sums it up. Yeah, Hands Across America. What is that? Some kind of fucked up performance art? Yeah, I can see people coming out of this movie and saying, yeah, that's, you know, I think that's what it was, or that's the only thing I can guess. But yeah, that line is paid lip service to in this scene here with Red, because she said that she wanted to make a statement, you know, the way artists do. There's something kind of childlike about that. Again, it's a perversion of innocence, not her statement that she's trying to make, but all the red handprints. But yeah, Addie's got her motivation. She wants her boy, but Red's not listening. Yeah, the way that's drawn, all those people on the board, it's very like naive, but also all the red handprints. It's like what children do in play school, in nursery, and stuff like that. But yeah, this is her. She's cutting. What we'll see is like, again, Hands Across America. This shot's scary. I'm used to it now, but the first few times, you know, I saw it, it's scary. It's very Spielberg. There's a few shots in Jaws that look like that. That shot comes from the opening scene again, where the title card was, but this whole bit does, but it's been repurposed here. Yeah, the soul remains one, shared by two. They, who, you know, the government who did this experiment. This whole bit is just her explaining the plot, which I've touched on already, and it's again that idea of knowing how it ends, let's talk about the ending in, you know, respective of how we got there. But yeah, for generations the Tethered continued without direction, so they all went mad, like I said before. Yeah, they were just, like, abandoned, and it just goes to show, and this is an argument that people sometimes make with faith. People will talk about how, you know, we have free will, but God made Adam and Eve as adults. Shouldn't they have been born children? Shouldn't they have grown up more and been raised better and stuff like that? And that's a whole other argument. But yeah, I want number 11. Here's a callback to that. 1111. Yeah, Russell here looks kind of like he's both versions are similar, but yeah, evil Addie here is a bit of a brat, which is symbolized perfectly by her just snatching that gift she was given. She's an ungrateful person. But yeah, this moment's a little bit ridiculous because their clothes look the same, and you think to yourself, who could organize this? Why do they look exactly the same but act so differently? And it would probably work more if they were naked or if they all wore like uniforms, the same uniforms, like in a mental institution or something like that. Which you don't want to offend anyone, but you also don't want to make your movie too absurd. Yeah, something obviously that the Tether do, they eat like we do. But they don't eat nice food. They eat raw rabbits, which is gross. I always remember, I think it was the second viewing coming out of the cinema watching this, and there were these two girls that left the movie, and they said it was all right except for them eating rabbits, or they were really grossed out by that. Like, that's horrible. Which, that's a problem in the slasher genre, which this movie touches on, where you can kill people, but don't kill animals, especially don't kill pets. People get upset. Jeremiah 11:11. We see the guy, and we see him again, younger, with the scars on his forehead, which again is, well, I say again, it's very Omen, like 666, on someone's forehead, except it's 4 numbers, and they're all number 1. Here we go. Yeah, I wonder if, because I wonder if this happened with other people. I think the movie intends for, this to be an isolated incident. Yeah, there's that reaction again. An isolated incident of them being compelled to each other. Like in the chaos of the world, like these two people met. Because perhaps it's because this movie goes under the logic that everybody has a doppelganger, fine, but the odds are they'll never meet, mostly because they're underground, but, also there's so many people in America, how could you possibly? Yeah, here we are. This dance is obviously usually done as a duet, but Addie on the surface decided to do it as, do it as a solo, and but it turns out it's not being done as a solo, it's being done parallel, like two people doing the same dance at the same time, but they're in different places, so it's like a reinterpretation of that. Yeah, here we are. No, it just goes to show that you could be young and you could be, again, you could go against the grain, you could inspire people in your revolution, and they would do it. There's the Hands Across America shirt again, though it's faded. I like that mural there with all the scissors and all the red people and all that kind of stuff. It's our time now, which is a quote from the Goonies. There's the 4 Hands Across America people. Also the family, which is then reinterpreted by Red cutting it in 2. And it signifies her main motivation, which is to get revenge, to get her life back, which was stolen from her. So even though it ends up being tragic, we're led to believe it's all done in malice, because of course we still think that Addie is good there and Red is not. So yeah, there's another freaky look there. So yeah. Yeah, you forget that Addie is in chains the whole time in this movie, and here's a remix of I Got 5 on It by Michael Abels. It lends itself really well to orchestration, it's good. I don't know if it always worked like this during production, but I think Lupita Nyong'o either wanted it to be that she would play the evil version of herself first, or if at all possible, that's what she wanted. And then, knowing how to react to it as the good version of herself, she can humanize it, humanize her other performance and, you know, work off that. You know, like reactions like that. Yeah, she's whispering, Red, that is whispering to her good self, to her other self, but yeah, I don't know what she's saying. Probably not speaking English. I guess Red is bilingual as she's able to speak like the tethered, she's able to understand them having grown up with them for so many years, kind of being deprived like that, but she's never forgotten how to talk. Yeah, you forget that Addie's incapacitated the whole movie because they never make a thing out of it, really. But yeah, she's trying to undo her bonds. There's Red scurrying away like a cockroach, which is Jordan Peele's vision for the characters, for this group of people. But yeah, she's trying to get out of her captivity and try and get her revenge. This is the shot I was talking about, which we'll get a close-up of in a minute, of, yeah, here we are, of Red looking away. And I kind of see that as like facelessness, of hiding your true self. So again, it's so as to string you on to think that she's evil rather than in the right. It's good that it's intercut here. Lots of great editing. It's very similar to Get Out, especially the ending, like all the flashback sequences and recontextualizing, reframing the whole viewing experience of this film. But yeah, nicely intercut. They're dancing at the same time, and now they've met years later and they're combating each other. Oh man. Yeah, the paneling here, it's some of it's more organic looking, it looks more like rocks, and some of it's just like ordered and like in a grid, which again, it's all very Stanley Kubrick. Also like a military facility, stuff like that. That's a Halloween shot there, like Michael coming up from behind the car. That's a scary look. This is really brutal, this sequence. Yeah, she's stuck with that fire poker. Ah, man. Now, apparently, the late great Christopher Lee knew what it was like, I think, to stab somebody in the back. And when you get stabbed, you don't say anything; you just gasp because you've run out of air. But that's what it's like when you're stabbed in the back. When you're stabbed in the front, it's probably the same. But yeah, in other words, I don't think realistically she would be able to do this. I think she would just be. I think she would probably die immediately, or just go into shock. I don't know. But yeah, this whistling here is just symbolizes the end of their symbiotic relationship, their arc together. And Addie, who, even if you didn't guess that she was probably evil, you know it pretty well by this point. Because, yeah, this is really uncomfortable. I don't hate it, I don't objectively hate it, but it's really scary. Especially this. It's like she's snapped, like this grunting, this thing here. It's like she's completely lost it. You say to yourself, why is she acting this way, if you didn't know what the twist was? And you're just like, yeah. You know, you get an idea of how much of a sadist she is, because she killed her, and instead of being relieved, or instead of not doing anything, or instead of like gasping, like what have I done, like having some remorse, she's actually amused by that. Because she's evil. So she relished that moment, as awful as that is to say, but now her attention has shifted back onto her son. But yeah, despite her episode, it works well enough. You could believe that she wants revenge, she wants to slay her demon, so to speak. And she's done that, and she's found her baby. It's like, look, it's me, it's Mum. And it is Mum, but Mum's evil, son. No. Oh, yeah, this isn't the way to comfort your son if your hands are covered in blood. Even if it's not your own. So, yeah, despite the fact that she's not good, she's gotten rid of the threat in this film. and she's reconnecting with him, try to win his trust back over. Because, yeah, and this is how you know that this really was building up to being a mother-son story, which they'd touched on. They've woven that throughout the movie, but it's confirmed here. And this shot of her against the bed is brought up again later in a flashback. Yeah, they're back. Addie's happy. Jason is not. He's really freaked, but he's a kid, and the cracks are beginning to show. I like that you see in the distance, first on the right, then on the left, you see everybody doing Hands Across America. Yeah, California. It's a beautiful looking movie, despite, how dark it ends up being. This shot here of Gabe putting his glasses back on, initially I thought that it was going to be revealed that, again, he was bad too, but, just because it's weirdly shot, and Zora's just in shock here. Jason, I've just seen there that he kept his weapon, but he also kept one of the rabbits, it looks like. That's interesting. And that scar on her face, it looks like crosses. It's like a tear. But yeah, so the thing is, throughout the movie, Addie has been having flashbacks, like bits and pieces have since come back to her that she's tried to bury in the past because she deprived somebody of their life by stealing it. So we're getting a little bit more of that now. Yeah, that's kind of an artistic reference that the therapist is making there. We'll get her to draw, to write, to dance, anything to help us tell her story. Yeah, that's her smirking. There's that shot again. That was in the trailer. That's a creepy bit. The trailer gave away a lot of stuff, like this shot was in the trailer of her being choked. I remember watching this for the first time wide-eyed because I felt really silly for not picking up on it quicker. Yeah, it's her being dragged away. Yeah, this movie is, I'm looking at her Thriller t-shirt. The movie is very similar to Thriller in that at the closing bit of that trailer, the closing bit of that video is Michael is revealed to be evil, or, so yeah. Yeah, that grin, that look is really bizarre and scary. But yeah, her holding her throat as well is another visual hint that, the reason she talks that way is because her throat was really damaged. And yeah, that's the shot I was talking about of her being chained up on the bed, as she grew up to do and did that to her captor. Here we are again, and she's smirking. She's like, I fooled you. I've taken her place, and you'll never know. Jason, on the other hand, he knows. This expression here, you see, he knows. He's clued in enough to understand. He's smart. This is creepy of her smiling here. And she's just like, whatever, you never know. But yeah, by the very end, yeah, it does floor you quite a lot. And yeah, it just leaves you thinking, what was that? I don't really know what to say. And I'm kind of in that position now, if you didn't know. But yeah, I've been talking for 2 hours like a crazy person doing this, so maybe I'm just tired. But yeah, nice shots here. But the thing is, I'll comment just quickly on what we end up seeing, which is just lots of people doing Hands Across America, across the land, across the horizon. And even though they've taken over the whole country, we're supposed to think, there are still some people, who've been able to avoid the apocalypse, because this ends up being like a zombie apocalypse kind of thing. Because you see people in helicopters, probably the news media or just some kind of reconnaissance. This looks more like New Zealand than it does California. It's just the way it's lit, or the color temperature and all that stuff. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, and you see different colors, different clothing colors that the tethered all have. There's the helicopters. But anyway, yeah, Lupita Nyong'o, it's apparent that to to play Addie, she did research into like imposters and war criminals is another one, and you know, so as to play this person who is a bit of a narcissist, or a lot of a narcissist, and a real manipulator. I love quickly that the credits are mostly in white but also in red, and we can see different, you know, the names of each one here. It turns out that Ferdy is the name of the Jeremiah 11:11 guy, and the funny thing is, the girl from the 80s, her good version was named Nancy, and her bad version was named Sid, as in Sydney. But yeah, it's kind of a joke on Sid and Nancy. So nothing to do with what's in the movie, because it's never drawn attention to. It's just like a joke. Because that's the thing, Jordan Peele has his roots in comedy, but his movies are all horror movies, that he's directed anyway. And some of his recent producer credits, but yeah, it's all very socially conscious. And yeah, I'm struggling for what to say now. I think I've really touched on it all, but there is kind of a nihilism to this movie in a way, by the very end, as it pertains to our leading ladies, because you have most of the tethered are evil, and you know, not to be, you know, not to be messed with in their, you know, situation when they end up going to the surface. But yeah, the leader of the revolution was an innocent victim that was tortured, was imprisoned, and wanted revenge, which is the wrong thing to do. But you can understand why. Red is still wrong, but you can understand why she's doing it. So it's tragic, you know. It's you know, she had her life stolen from her. I'm trying not to go too far into the social commentary. I've got very little time left with the credits rolling here, so I've got, you know, 2 more minutes, a minute roughly. Yeah, no, it's an amazing movie for what literally happens in it, but also the social commentary beyond that, which is, you know, if you are living a privileged existence, it's probably to the expense of someone else's life or someone else's happiness. For the sake of making a scary movie, but also really making a statement, that's the way to do it. But no, thank you for listening to the commentary, folks. From this point on, no, I'll say that I'm going to do a review of this movie and go into more information, more detail if I possibly can. But I've tried to say everything I possibly can in this film. Special thanks to Steven Spielberg. That's wonderful. Yeah, I've said everything I can do just by sitting here with my microphone and my tech, just talking over it. But yeah, next time there'll be more information. But thank you for listening, folks. And if you enjoyed my commentary, remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to ring the notification bell as well to get notified on all the updates as they come through in the future. Take care, folks, and enjoy Jordan Peele's work. Thank you.